Hi there. Learn how to recreate this classic space game from scratch, complete with dynamic enemy movement, laser shooting, responsive controls, and thrilling gameplay. We'll guide you through every step from setting up the game grid to implementing the game logic, such as dynamic text on canvas, featuring smooth graphics, laser shooting, enemy waves, implementing collision reduction, auto updated on scores, and much more with JavaScript. Here's a preview of what we'll be creating today. First, user can see the container with text says start game. We need to press space to start the game as same as our previous games. Our Space Inventor game will feature to render the game board with inventor's movement to enter the world and will allow players to move the spaceship only on left and right side using the arrow keys and will shoot the bullet with X key and the score increases as we hit the inventors on top. This game will complete once we kill all the inventors in the space and then we'll get the message as game completed. Else if an inventor reaches the bottom of the screen to the spaceship, the game is over and will display the same text to the user. Again, we can hit the space, it will reset the game to play. Don't miss out this fun and educational project, and I upload unique project videos every week. Please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you have any questions or suggestions, make sure to subscribe our channel Sarat Chandar K. Your support means a lot. That helps me to create more content for you and hit that notification bell to stay updated with our latest content. Now let's dive into the code. Let's open this Space Inventors project folder in my favorite code editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me know yours favorite and why in our comment box below. Inside the directory, I have already created index.html, style.css and script.js. Inside the index.html, I have already added HTML boilerplate with the help of exclamation mark. Along with that, I have changed the title to Space Invaders by Sharat Chandar K, and below I have linked the style.css and script.js. Now inside the body we'll add the HTML elements to create the game. First I will add the h1 with the heading with the value of score. With the help of this we are going to update the scores automatically with the ID of score. By default I will set for 0 and below we'll add the canvas element. This element is the hero of today's project. Canvas is used to draw graphics on the fly via scripting. Along with that, we'll add the attribute of width to 800, height to 600. Now we need to style this. For that, I need to jump to the style.css. I have already added import URL of font family poppins. Along with that, I have added the global selector to reset the margin to 0px, adding to 0px, box sizing border box, font family poppins from an import URL. Along with that, I need to add the styles to the body with the help of element selector name called body. Inside the body, we'll set the background to the blue color, min I2, 100 VH, display to flags. This will help us to place the content into the center of the body with the help of align item center, justify content center. We'll set the flux direction to be column. The next thing we'll add the styles to the canvas with same element selector name called canvas with the background color of black color, box shadow, 14px, 0 and 0 of the position with white color. That's all for the HTML and CSS. Are you thinking about using this minimal code to create a game grid, spaceship with bullets and inventors with random colors? Our previous JavaScript game playlist included games such as memory card game, rock paper scissors, tic tac toe, word guessing game, and many others. All of this project have been added to the HTML element with CSS styles and actions in JavaScript. But here we want to do something more advanced. Our plan is to create graphic games with canvas using JavaScript for the upcoming weeks because we are closely to completing our 52 weeks of 52 projects. During this 52-week period, we have covered many projects from beginner to advanced level. If you are interested in becoming a successful front-end developer, start coding or enhancing your programming skills, we have something for everyone. I have included all the links in the description. If you are interested, please check them out. If you have learned something valuable, please click the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to ensure you don't miss out on our weekly unique projects. Feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or upcoming projects with me in the comment box below. Now let us see our HTML file in action. For that, in Visual Studio Code, we have an extension called Go Live. Once we click, the tool will automatically load our project into the default browser. Here we can see the H1 tag along with the canvas with background and box shadow color. Now we'll add the functionalities with the help of JavaScript. For that, we need to jump to the script.js. Inside the script.js, we need to add the event listener to check DOM content loader. Once the content loaded, we need to fire this event with the help of document. Document is an owner of your web page with dot add event listener of that DOM content loaded. With the help of this, we need to declare the declaration with const canvas equal to again document dot query selector with canvas. We'll check what this canvas contain with the help of console.log of canvas. If I go to the browser, here in the console, we can see the entire canvas element with attributes. That is how the DOM tree will work. And then we'll add one more declaration of const ctx equal to canvas dot get context of 2D. The get context method returns an object with tools for drawing with properties and methods. Along with that, I will add few more declaration. Const of canvas width will get the canvas width with the help of above declaration canvas dot width. This will get the width from here. The same thing will add the const of canvas height equal to same canvas dot height and will add the let declaration of score equal to 0 and will create one more declaration of let game interval and one more declaration of let is game running equal to will set to false. We'll explain you why we have declared this declaration. First, we'll display the text to this canvas with the help of const display message equal to param. Inside this, we'll create the text. Why I have created as a separate declaration so we can reuse this display message for start game or game completed or game over. Inside this, we'll add the ctx dot fill style equal to will set to black and again ctx dot global alpha equal to 0.75 and will fill the ctx dot fill react of 0 comma canvas dot height or we can use the canvas height because we have already added the declaration for this. We'll set this label into the center of the screen so we need to divide it by 2 and we set to -30, same as canvas width, and then height of 60. And I will call this function next to this const declaration. If I save, if I go to the browser, here we can see the label with black color, and it's placed into the center of the canvas. Now we need to add the text to this with the help of ctx dot global alpha equal to 1. Again ctx dot fill style equal to white. This is a color of the text. Again ctx dot font equal to 36px, and monospace. We'll set the text into the center of the label with the help of text align equal to center, and we'll set the baseline with text baseline equal to middle. Now we need to place this with the help of ctx dot fill text. What text we are going to fill, that text should be an param of this function. So I can use this param, and will set the same thing, canva width divided by 2 and canva height divided by 2. With the help of this, it will set to the center of the screen. If I save, if I go to the browser, we can see the undefined. Why? Because here we have passed the param as undefined. Instead of this, we'll set to start game. If I say, if I go to the browser, now we can see the start game text on top of the canvas. Now we need to start the game with the help of press space, and then we'll create the spaceship as well as the inventors. For that, we need to create the event listener. For that, with the help of window dot add event listener of key down with function of e, will check what is this e contains with the help of console dot log, and then e. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I click any of the key, we'll get that keyboard event. If I hit on space, we'll get that keyboard event. Here we can check the code of space, key of double quotes with empty value, and then key code as 32. For each keys, we have a different key code like this. With the help of this, if e dot key double equal to empty space, or e dot code double equal to space, or e dot key code double equal to 32. If any of this present, we'll start the game. Along with that, we need to consider this is game running. Why? Because we need to press space to start the game only once. So I will use undone, and will set the is game running with exclamation mark. Now this will convert as true because we have initialized this as false. For the first time, it will take for true, and once the game starts, we need to set to true here. And then second time we hit the space, it will not going to fire. We'll show you. For that, we'll set that alert. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we'll get that alert. Again, if I hit on space, we'll not get that alert message. That is how this flag will work. Now once we hit the space, we need to create the space into the game loop. For that, we need to create one function with game loop. Inside this game loop, we need to assign the one more function. So for that, we'll create one more function of draw. Why? Because in a Canva, it will run into the loop, else it will show the predefined what we are creating. So I will call this game loop here, and I will call this draw function inside the game loop. Now inside the draw function, first we'll clear everything inside the Canva with clear react of 0, 0, because the HTML canvas is a two-dimensional grid, so we are using x and y of 0 and 0, and we'll set the Canva width and Canva height. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can't see the start game text here. Now everything we have cleared. Now we need to draw the player. For that, I will create one more function of draw player. Before creating the player, we need to create the object of that player with the help of const player equal to object. Will set the width of 50 and height of 30. As I said, this is a two-dimensional grid, so we need to use the x of Canva width divided by 2, and we need to assign minus 25 from the start, and we'll set the y of canvas height minus 40. I have already calculated the base point for the player to be placed into the center of the canvas, and we need to initialize the speed of 5, and we'll set the dx position of 0. Why I have created this as a separate object, so we can reuse this. Now we need to draw the player. So before that, I will call this draw player inside this draw function. So once the game loop start, it will call this draw. Inside the draw, we have cleared and will draw the player. For creating the player also, we need to use the ctx dot fill style equal to, will set the color to this of blue, or else we can get the color from here. So I will use the color of blue. Inside this, we'll get the player dot color. Now we need to place this player with the help of fill react. With ctx dot fill react, we'll place the graphics as player like spaceship. For that, we need to create two layers, player dot x plus 16.5. This is for the x-axis, player dot y minus player dot height divided by 2, because we need to get this as two separate row. For the top row, I have divided by 2. That will not same as below, and it will reduce to half of that, and we'll set the width of this player dot width divided by 3. We need to divide it into this 3. Here I have misspelled. This is width, and we'll set the player dot height as same. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit space, now we can see the players is placed to the center of the canvas. Again, we need to create one more graphics to bottom into the horizontal view. For that, we create ctx dot same field react, and now we'll set the x-axis directly from the player dot x. For the y also, player dot y. We'll set the player dot width as same, and we'll set the player dot height divided by 2. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see the graphics same as space racket. Here we can use a graphics like this, or we need to use some images. If you want, let me know in the comments. I will create a project for images also. Here we have created the space rocket. We need to move this. For that, we need to create one more function, move player. Inside this, we'll get the player dot x plus equal to player dot dx. For the dx, we have set to 0, and we'll check if player dot x less than 0, then we'll set player dot x equal to 0. Why? Because we no need to pass to outside this canvas. So only we are checking if it is less than 0, and we'll set for x, and it will place the here itself. If player dot x plus player dot width greater than canvas width, will set the players dot x equal to canvas width minus player dot width. So again, same thing, we are calculating the canvas width, and it will not going to outside of this canvas. Now the same as this draw player, I will call this move player function also next to the draw. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I click on arrow, now the player is not moving because we have only created the function. We need to add the event listeners for that. As same as space, we need to create one event listener with the help of document dot add event listener of key down with e what we have received from the keyboard event, and we'll check if this game is running. Then only we need to do the activities for that. Whenever the game running is true, then we do this with if e dot key. We already know we'll get the key as text triple equal to hero right, and I will add else if e dot key triple equal to hero left, because we are going to move the players right or left side. Inside this, we need to add the players dot dx equal to players dot speed. For the left, we need to minus this with players.dx equal to minus players.speed. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I click the arrow, it is not moving. As I said, the canvas is running into the loop of animation. So we can create this as a interval, or we can use the request frame loop. For now, I will use the intervals with set interval. For that, I have already created game interval let attribute equal to set interval of this game loop, and I will use the timeout of 10 milliseconds. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I hit on hero mark, still it is not working. Why? Because here we have assigned this as a function. Instead of this, we need to initialize the function name. If I save, if I go to the browser, here if I hit on space, now if I click on right key, it is going to the right, and if I click on left, it is going to the left. Once I hit one step, it should move for only one time. Right now it is going to the end to end. We need to fix that with the help of one more event listener. To check document dot add event listener of key up with same function, will pause that e and will check if e dot key triple equal to arrow right or e dot key triple equal to arrow left. If this both key present, will set the players dot dx equal to 0. Now what will happen once we click this right arrow? It was adding this players dot dx equal to the players dot speed is 5. It is appending this dx as 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 until the canvas reached. So instead of that, once we press the key down, then again it will fire the key up. That time will set to 0 again. So if I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if I hit on right, it will only go to the speed of 5, and again the dx set to 0. Again if I press on left, it will press to 5 and it will go for 0 again until we can go to the end. How simple is this, right? With the help of key up and key down, we are making as an animation. For the next thing, we need to create the bullets whenever we are pressing X. For that, same as player, we can create one more const of that object with bullet equal to the object. Will set the bullet width to 5 and height to 10, and will set the speed of this bullet to 10, and will set the color of the bullet to be yellow, and will set the empty array with the key of array. With the help of this object, we need to draw the bullets with the help of function keyword function name as draw bullets. Inside this, we can create ctx dot fill style equal to bullet dot color. For the bullet, we need to create the arrays with the help of bullet dot array dot for each, because here we have created the empty for each. Inside this, we'll set the bullet of ctx dot fill react, same as we'll set the b dot x from the bullet object b dot y, and we'll set the bullet dot width, we'll set the bullet dot height. Now we need to move the bullets with the help of new function with move bullets. Inside this function, we'll add the for each of bullet dot array dot for each, and we need to find the b of that array object with index, and inside that we can move this b dot y minus equal to bullet dot speed, and we'll check if b dot y plus bullet dot height less than 0, then we'll set the bullet dot array dot slice. We'll remove this bullet from the canvas with index comma 1, because we are firing this index and we are checking every bullet and if we are shooted and it will fire from this array, and if it reaches on height of this canvas, then we are removing the bullets from the array. Now we need to call this inside this draw function, same as this draw player and move player. So I will use draw bullets, will set the next one as move bullets. For this we need to add the event listener as same as with this right and left. For that I will use the same key down event and will check else if e dot key will set to x key. For yours, your preferred key you can set. From here I will set bullet dot array dot push, will set this object x of players dot x plus players dot width, because we need to set this bullet position from the players, right? From here, then only user can know the bullet is firing from the player. I will use this position from the x of this width and I will divide by 2, because this should be center to this with minus bullet dot width divided by 2. For the y, we simply set the player dot y. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we can see the player, we can move right and left. If I hit on x, we can see the bullet is firing. As simple as this, right? We have the speed, so we can control the speed with the help of this object. So instead of 10, I will set to 1. If I save, if I go to the browser, I will refresh, I will hit on space. Now the game is started. If I hit on X, you can see the speed of the bullet is like slow motion. So only I have created this as a separate object. So make use of that based on our requirement. So I will change to 10. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, we'll get, if I hit on X, we'll get that speed of the bullet. Now we need to create the inventors as same as bullet and player. I will create one const declaration with invaders equal to this object. Will set the width of 40. Will set the height of 20. We need to create the rows and columns. For now, I will create a row as 5. Will set the column as 10. Will create one empty array. Same as the player, will set the speed because we are moving this inventors. So I will set the speed as 1 for this and will set the dx as 1 and dy as 20 and will set the down as false. So with the help of this keyword, we can move the inventors or not. Same as that, we'll create one more function with create invaders. Inside this create, we'll set the invaders dot array equal to empty, because whenever we are creating, we need to set this empty for all the time, and we'll create one more for each with for let row equal to 0 row dot inventors dot row. We have already created this as 5. We are creating this as dynamic, so only I am using this, else directly we can set row less than 5. In some cases we can change this row from here and it will automatically change the options, and we'll set the row plus plus, and we need to create the column also. For that I will create one more for each let call as column equal to 0. We'll set the call less than inventors dot columns and call plus plus. So for this we need to create the inventors array with the help of inventors dot array. As I said, we need to push the parameters as same as bullet with x. Will set the call asterisk inventors dot width plus 10. This is a space plus 30. For the y also, will set rows asterisk inventors dot height plus 10 plus 30. This is a space, and for this we'll set the status of 1. Why? Because with the help of this status we can check we have killed this inventors or not. So with the help of this array we need to draw this inventors. So I will create one more function of draw invaders. Inside this we can fill ctx dot fill style equal to invaders dot color. For this invader, we have not yet set the color, so I will copy this. I will use this parameter as color. We'll set the red color from here. So now we can fill with the help of invaders dot array. Before filling, we'll check what this array contains with the help of console dot log invaders dot array, and we need to call these functions inside the draw methods. Below to this bullet, I can call this draw invaders. So I have misspelled, I have used the same name. So this create invaders we no need to create into the game loop. Why? Because if you create in the game loop, every time we'll set this status to 1. So that time while firing to the invaders, that will not going to delete. So for this we need to create this while creating the game grid. So I will initialize this on top of the game initialization. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, here we are getting the game grids with the help of x into 30, y into 30 till 49, because we have 5 of 10 grids with 50 objects. So here we have 49 because the array starts from 0 to 49, that contains 50. Now with the help of this array, we need to create the invaders. So with for each, we need to loop this and we can get the inv as invaders. Inside this, we'll check if inv dot status double equal to 1. Then only we need to draw. Else we no need to draw. That time we can consider we have killed that invaders. Once this is 1, we can check ctx dot fill react. This only we are going to create the invaders with inv dot x. We have inv dot y, and we have the width from invaders, and we have height from invaders. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see the invaders is created on top with 5 rows and 10 columns. So we need to change this as dynamic. Instead of 5, I will set to 10. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see that 10 rows instead of 10 columns. I set to 5. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can get this. That is how the dynamic element will work. So instead of adding static, we can use this dynamic. So anytime we can change. Now if I hit X, we can get the bullets and we are firing on the invaders, but it is not killed. And same as this, we need to move this invaders to bottom of the line. If player can shoot and kill the invaders, else invaders can reach the bottom and blast the player. So we need to create one more function to move the invaders with the help of function move invaders. Inside this already we are having this array, so I will use this. So we need to move this. Whenever this is present, we'll check if inv dot status triple equal to 1, and we'll set the inv dot x plus equal to inventor dot dx. I will call this move inventors inside the draw function next to the draw inventors. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can get it is going outside of the canvas. So we need to check the collision reduction when it reaches into this, and it will move down to the next step. So for that, inside this move inventor next to this loop, we can find the left and right for the canvas. With the help of const, we'll check it left wall equal to inventors dot array dot sum. The sum methods call the prediction function for each element and will return the results. So inside the sum, we'll create this inv as a parameters, and we'll check inv dot status triple equal to 1 and inv dot x less than 0. If this inventors is less than to the width, then we'll set to true this one. Same thing, we need to use the const it right wall equal to inventors dot array dot sum. The same thing we have used for the players also. If you want, I will show you for the players. Here we are checking, and here we are placing the players dot x with canvas width. The same as inside the sum, we'll set inv inv dot status triple equal to 1 and inv dot x plus inventor dot width, because we need to calculate the inventor width from here greater than canva width. If this is present, we'll get as a true from here. Then we'll check if it left wall or it a right wall. If any of one is true, then we'll set the inventor dot dx multiply equal to -1 and we'll set the inventor dot down equal to true. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we can see that is moving. If I hit again, it is bouncing back to the left side. So now we have set the down is true. Then we need to move this to the downstairs. For that, we need to create if inventors dot down. If this is true, then we'll set the inventors dot array dot for each. We need to move everything, right? So only I'm using this as for each. So inside this, we'll check inv dot status triple equal to 1. Then we'll set the inv dot y, because this is a two-dimensional, so we need to use the y for this. If it is a right or left, we can use for x. So we'll set y plus equal to inventor dot dy, and end of this for each, we'll set the inventors dot down equal to false. Why? Because I will show you. For that, I will command here. If I say, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, if it hits the right wall, and it will go downstairs. So instead of that, I will set to false. If I say, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, it will hit on the right end and it will get down one step. Again, it will hit the left, it will down one step. The same step will process all the time. Now we need to fire and we need to check the collision and we need to delete the inventors. And once it's hit the bottom of the page, then we need to show the game over result. For that, we need to create one more function as check collision. Inside this check collision, we'll check bullet dot array dot for each. Whenever we are hitting the x, we are creating the bullet that is stored inside this array with b and then b index. Inside this, we can check that inventor dot array dot for each, and we can use the same inv and index. Whenever this bullet and inventor is matching and it is in the same position, that time we need to remove that inventor. So only I am creating this two for each. As I said, I will check if inv dot status will equal to 1, because whenever that is live, that time only we need to kill that, right? And then we'll set that bullet dot x less than inv dot x plus inventor dot width. We'll check one more condition of bullet dot x plus bullet dot width greater than inventor dot x. We'll check and again, and we'll check the position of b dot y less than I dot y plus inventor dot height, because we are checking this x and y. As I said, this is a multi-dimensional. We can check the bullet dot y plus bullet dot height greater than inv dot y. If all these conditions satisfied, then we'll set the inv dot status equal to 0. Why I have set this 0? Whenever we set this 1, that time only we are showing this as alive. So we need to call this check collision inside this draw function. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on start, the game is started. If I hit on X, now we can see while the first bullet, it was taking all the inventors. That should not happen, right? Because once the bullet is went and it hit to the inventors, the bullet also need to destroy, right? So if I hit, now it is taken all the inventors at once. So for that, we need need to close that bullet. From there, bullet dot array dot slice. We'll slice the bullet or we blast the bullet whenever the bullet is hit on the inventors on top of the array and it's set to 1. We'll update the score as well with score plus equal to 10. For each inventors, we'll get the score of 10 and we'll update the score also with the help of one more function update score. Inside this function, we'll create document dot get element by id of that score. The score of this id from the html of the header element inside the span tag. Then we'll add the dot text content equal to score what we are updating inside this, and we need to call this update score from here as a function. Now if I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit start, if I fire the game, again it is clearing all the inventors. Why? Because bullet dot array dot instead of slice will set to splice. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, now we'll get, if I hit X will fire and it will hit on the inventors and that bullet also destroy from there, and then inventors also killed, and then scores is updated on top. We can check everything as simple as this, right? Once we killed everything, what we'll get, we'll check that. So for that I will killing all the inventors, and if I killed still I can able to shoot. We need to restrict that and we need to show the message to the user. And same as if I refresh, if I start the game, now this inventors hit the base, what will happen? We can check that too. Now the inventors is going to hit the base on the space, still nothing is happen. All the inventors is upon the spaceship. So once it's hit the space, that time we need to set the game over also. So for that, inside this collision check, after this array will check inventors dot array dot for each with inventors. Inside this we'll check if inv dot status triple equal to 1 and then inv dot y plus inventor dot height greater than player dot y. If both this matches and it's hit the ground, we'll set the clear interval of that game interval. After that, we no need to run the loop. So only I have cleared this and then we'll set the display message as game over. So only I have created this as a separate function so we can reuse this many time, and we'll set the is game running equal to false. This will help us to restart the game. This is for game over if inventors dot array dot every. This is one more function. We'll check the function of function and inv dot status double equal to 0. This will check on every array. If all the arrays set to 0, once this is reached, the same thing we'll use this above declaration. Instead of game over, we'll set to game completed. Now we are setting is game running equal to false. Once we click, we need to set some default values. So I will jump to the top here. Inside this key down, we can set the scores equal to 0 and we'll set all the bullet dot array equal to empty. If any of the bullet is on fire, that should also empty, and we'll set the update score here. That's it, and we are creating the inventors, and the same thing for the game loop also. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I hit on space, the inventors is running, moving forward to us. So I will try to kill every inventors with the firing, and the score is also automatically updating on the top. So now if everything is clear, we are not getting that game completed message. Why? Because here we are getting some error, uncatched inv is not defined. So we'll check that what is the error contains. So I'm getting the error from here. Here this is inv, that is outside the function. So we need to set to this as a inside this function. So I will remove this. I will set this as inside and I will remove the condition from here and will make this as a function code. If I save, if I go to the browser, if I refresh, if I hit on space, we'll get that. I try to kill all the inventors. Now the scores also automatically updating. Now the every inventors is killed. Two more and only one more. If I hit, now we can and get the game completed message. And again we can't do anything here as we said the is game is too false. So if I hit the space again, it will reset the game and will help to play. So now I will wait until the inventors is it to the bottom of the screen. Meanwhile, I'll try to hit on top some inventors. With that will fire almost. We are getting this inventor next to the spaceship. We'll wait two more steps to hit that inventor. So now the next step it is going to hit the space and we'll get the game over here. That is how the functionality we have driven. So now again we can't fire or we can't do anything. The game is freezed. Now again we have only option to reset the game. So for that I can hit the space, we can fire the same. Yes, we have completed Space Inventor game. You can control the spaceship with arrow key, shoot bullet and hit the aliens and track your scores. And that's it. A complete Space Inventor game built with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Feel free to customize and expand on this basic setup to add more feature or improve the design. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more tutorial. If you are interested in JavaScript projects like this, I have created and added the playlist link in the description. Please do check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep coding and keep learning. See you in the next video. Happy coding. Bye for now. Have a nice day.